Singapore is this really cool electric city. Probably like what I would kind of describe as maybe like an Asian Dubai. It is so electric, it is super fast. It's also one of the most dangerous sports out there in the whole wide world because, I mean, racing cars really fast. The margin for error is not that big. Hi guys, it's Kazumi, and today I want to tell you guys about one of my favorite places I traveled to this year, which is Singapore. Singapore is this really fascinating city located in Asia. I was there specifically for two things. Token 2049, which is one of the largest crypto conferences in the whole world, and F1. If you know anything about F1, you would know it's one of the coolest events that anyone cool ever goes to. There's multiple circuits all around the world. Maybe the most famous one you might be familiar with is Monaco, the Grand Prix. There's F1 Mexico, F1 Abu Dhabi, F1 Miami, F1 Vegas. Wherever cool stuff is happening, F1 is there. Singapore is this really cool electric city. A little bit similar to Chongqing, which is kind of called the neon city of China. Probably like what I would kind of describe as maybe like an Asian Dubai. It's extremely luxurious. It feels rich, it feels fancy, and not just because I was there for a crypto conference for F1, but the type of people that live there are people who typically kind of have their stuff figured out. But at the same time, Singapore is a very fascinating place. Besides all the rich, tall, humongous buildings and also their extremely cool airport, there's also these things called hawker stalls, which are these giant food courts of these kind of like street food vendors who've all kind of banded together to make these giant public malls, sort of. Singaporean food is really cool. A little bit similar to Chinese, a little bit spicier. Singaporeans are very conservative, but their food can be really spicy, really colorful. One of my favorite things to eat at Singapore was Hainan chicken rice. A little bit less about that and more about F1, which is what we're here to talk about. F1 is incredible. It is so electric, it is super fast. It's also one of the most dangerous sports out there in the whole wide world because, I mean, you're racing cars really fast. The margin for error is not that big. What you want to do when you go to F1 is you want to be in paddock, which is when you're able to just really see everything, see the cars go fast and, you know, just really be part of the action. I wasn't lucky enough to get paddock this time, but I did have a great view of the race with a bunch of other really cool, really successful, really fun people. Really, in Singapore and in any place that has an F1, your network is your net worth. I felt like I was having really important, really crucial conversations with everyone around me because simply to be there, you had to be someone who was super successful and had their life all put together. Honestly, I don't know too much about the F1 races, but I am kind of a car girl. Going back a little bit into my own personal life, I always looked up to import models, HIN, import tuners. So I've always had a fascination with cars, Fast and Furious, and just things that go super duper fast. So going to F1 and seeing how fast and also how loud these cars are and how intense everyone is about this race, something that just feels really electric and is really hard to replicate unless you're like actually there. Another really cool thing about it is, you know, depending on the area, the racetrack is completely different based off your environment. You know, some racetracks across the world are, you know, built, but the cool thing about Singapore is the racetrack is in the city. So it's like, you know, you'll be in different parts of the racetrack, and that means you'll be in a different building or different part of the city where you're seeing all these neon lights and these cars just vroom past these like crazy angles. It's hard to describe how fast it is because if you blink, you'll seriously miss it. That's my experience with F1 Singapore. I hope I excited you guys as much as I did, you know, just talking about it and remembering everything all over again. My dream F1 is to go to the F1 in Monaco. Why? Because everyone watches it from a yacht. Fingers crossed that that's where I end up next. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching and getting to know a little bit more about me. If you guys want to see a lot more about me and get to know me a lot deeper, and as always, please like, comment, and subscribe.